Hey, I'm Matt from Barometer Exploration Tech. Today we're going to be talking about this way-safe gooseneck hitch and how it compares to the onboard scale system on the F350 behind me. This is a 2025 model, but it's largely the same as what you're going to be seeing in 2026 if you're looking to order a new truck. So we'll talk about which one is the easiest, which one is the best for different cases, and what you might want to consider. Okay, so to get this test going, the first thing we got to do is get this installed in the bed, back up to the trailer, and hook everything up. Okay, so the next step is we're going to remove this Truckscursion truck cap so that we can go ahead and hook up to our gooseneck trailer so we can test out this way-safe gooseneck hitch and the onboard scale system on this F350. So it should just take me about 5 minutes or so for just me to remove this truck cap if everything goes smoothly. Okay, now that we got Truckscursion out of the bed, now we've got a nice open bed. You can see here our rails that the Truckscursion rolls on to get up in there, and our special gooseneck mount that goes in there, which is how Truckscursion locks in. So we're gonna go swap that out for this hitch, and we'll get ready with our test. This mount comes out just like a normal OEM puck hitch does. So you just pull up on this and pull it right out. That's how that works. Okay, and now we're gonna take this way-safe gooseneck hitch and I'm gonna insert it. I'm gonna make sure I point my gauge towards the left wheel well because that's where I'm gonna be walking by as I'm hooking this thing up so I can read the gauge. And you push this button to lock it in. That should be good. Okay, so now I'm gonna go into reverse. I'm going to select my bed camera right here so I can see my fifth wheel and gooseneck hitch there, and then I can see the front of my gooseneck. And you can also hit to zoom in, which I'll do in a second here. It gives you a steering noodle that'll go the direction that you are trying to go. One thing I will say is paint your gooseneck hitch a slightly different color, the coupler, because it's hard to see in the shadows exactly where you're at. And that looks about right. And I'm going to look for features. Now I'm going to go onboard scales. And what this is going to tell me is how much weight I have in my bed. But it doesn't tell me very precisely. It'll just come up to maybe here. This green bar will move up to here in the middle. This is showing me that my max payload in here is 41-45 pounds. In this particular truck, and as I load the gooseneck, it'll kind of put it in the middle. Now if I want, I can do the scale mode, which is what we're going to do here. So we're going to go into scale mode, and this now is going to show us how much weight we have in the bed. So I'm going to step out of the truck, and I'm going to hit this reset scale to 0, and then we're going to wait as we put weight on the tongue to see how much it really weighs. Okay?
Now here we see the Demco Easy Latch gooseneck coupler. We really like these couplers, so we upgraded this trailer shortly after we bought it. Right now I'm back at the trailer cranking up the landing gear, and you can see how the Easy Latch coupler locks itself in just by lowering it onto the ball. I've not yet had it bind up or get stuck like I often have happened with other couplers. Highly recommend these. I believe this was a little under $200 on eTrailer.com. Highly recommend them as well. They have great customer service. Now that the coupler has locked on, you can see the gauge on the way-safe hitch starting to indicate as I raise the trailer landing gear jacks and the truck takes a load of the trailer tongue. So you can see that dial start to move, and it's right around 1,600 pounds is what it's showing. So we'll go back inside the truck in the cab and see what the onboard scales are saying. Here we're in scale mode, and you can see it's showing right around 1,600 pounds as well. So pretty good match right there. So now we'll go into vehicle mode, and it'll show the green bar relative to our max payload of a little over 4,000 pounds. This is a less precise display, but it shows us that we're probably right around half of our payload capacity. Now this doesn't zero out when you start like we did in scale mode. So this is indicating the weight of some of the tools and other equipment I have in the truck, as well as the gooseneck tongue weight, which is why it reads a little bit higher than the 1,600 pounds on the WaySafe ball. Now this F350 is a lariat trim level, and the onboard scales did not include the indicators and the tail lights that you can see from the trailer. I believe that comes with the King Ranch and Platinum, but ask your dealer. Those come in handy, and you'll see that later in the video. Now we'll head back to the rear of the trailer and flip over the ramps so we can load some weight and see how the WaySafe Gooseball and the onboard scales respond, and then compare the two.
And now we're going to drive our other truck, which is an F250, which was our prototype for Truckscursion. We're going to drive that truck up on the trailer and see how the onboard scales and the WaySafe hitch respond to those kind of weights. This truck weighs, I believe, 8,400 pounds, and believe it or not, it's evenly spread between each axle, which is about 4,200 pounds per axle. We just had it weighed a couple days ago. So we're going to move that up now, and we'll see what the weights are then.
Crikey, mate. It's a wild teenager that knows how to drive a stick shift. That species has been on the verge of extinction in America for a decade.
Okay, so right now we've got this blue stripe right here is the halfway mark between the middle of the wheels and the tongue on the trailer, where it hits the gooseneck hitch ball. Okay, so this is about a 4,200 pound axle right here, right about midway. So we're expecting to see roughly adding another 2,100 pounds on that goose ball. And then this wheel is another 4,200 pounds, roughly right over the rear axles here. Okay, so just like we predicted, it was around 1,650 before. We expected we were going to add about 2,100 or so pounds, and it looks like it's at about 3,700 pounds. So we were pretty close on that. Let's go see what it says on the onboard scales. And as you can see, it's showing about 3,600 pounds on our onboard scales, and you can see the truck loaded on the trailer behind us. Now we'll see when we go out of scale mode, it's showing us really close to our 4,100 pound max capacity of this F350 single rear wheel. Okay, and that's about an 8,400 pound truck on about a 6,500 pound trailer. Okay, so now we're backing up, and we're going to put that rear wheel right on that rear platform there and see what happens. Front wheel is about halfway between this original midpoint we had right here and the axles. So what we'd expect to see now is the weight of the rear wheel is going to be pushing down over there, which wants to tip the gooseneck hitch up, and this wheel is now further closer to the axles, which is going to put more of that weight on the axles than on our gooseneck hitch. So we'll go check out what that weight is. Okay, so now with the truck moved back on the trailer, we've got it down to about 2,000 pounds. And just like what we saw on our WaySafe hitch in the bed, this is showing us right around 2,000 pounds, about halfway to our payload in this particular truck. Go to the scale mode and see it's showing right around 1,900, 1,950, which is pretty close. So I'd say the two are within about 100, 150 pounds of each other. Okay, so we're gonna try now the Smart Hitch. We've seen how onboard scales work, and Smart Hitch does a little bit of calculation for you on how much weight you should have on your tongue or on your gooseneck ball. So it'll show you that zone that's appropriate depending on the different type of trailer, and show you where you are. So we're gonna load a conventional hitch today, a conventional trailer today. So we go to features. I'm going to load my conventional hitch. I'm going to go to quick setup, add all cargo in the truck, and then reset the hitch weight. For the rest of this process, don't change the weight in the truck. Okay, so one of the things that you may find cumbersome about this is to use this feature, you need to reset your hitch weight. And to do that, you can't be connected to the trailer, which is fine if your trailer is already full. But if you're loading an empty trailer or hooking up to an empty trailer, hauling it somewhere, and then going to load that trailer where you're at, you're going to have to disconnect the trailer from the truck, reset your weight, then reconnect the trailer to the truck and load your trailer with the appropriate cargo that you have, and then place that cargo appropriately based upon what this is going to show you in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and reset the hitch weight right now. We are disconnected, so I'm going to say reset the hitch weight to 0. Hitch weight is reset to 0. I'm going to go to the next step, enter the total weight of the loaded trailer. So I'm going to load, I'm going to put my total weight. I'm going to say this one weighs 5,500 pounds. Okay, well, I guess it'll weigh 5,600 pounds. I'm going to hit confirm. I'm going to go to step 3. Okay, now I'm going to go back and I'm going to install the trailer on the hitch ball, and you'll see this come up slowly. It's saying I should have about 840 pounds on the ball when I'm done.
So I'm connecting our trailer with the small tractor and about 500 pounds of concrete in that bucket, and it's showing about 1,000 pounds on the tongue.
So I just attached the hitch on our tandem axle conventional trailer, and right here it's saying because I weigh about 5,500 pounds, I should have somewhere between 10% and 15% of my total weight on the hitch ball on the back. And this is telling me that I've got something higher than that, which we just read on that WaySafe hitch, that it has about 1,000 pounds on it. So this is showing exactly what we were expecting, is that we're a little bit overloaded on the front. I did that a little bit on purpose by putting those 500 pounds of bags of concrete in the bucket. I'm going to move the tractor back onto the trailer a little bit further back, and we'll watch that go back into the middle.
Now this is where we mentioned earlier, this Lariat version does not have the light indicators and the tail lights that tell you where you are in this range. Those lights will go from red to green to red at the top, and you can see them from the trailer when you're moving your cargo on the trailer. Again, we don't have that on this particular truck, and you can see me get up and down a couple times to go check that WaySafe hitch on the bumper to kind of see where is my what is my weight at. So this is where having that option would help, or having a WaySafe hitch also helps, so you don't have to walk all the way up to the cab to check and see what your weight is. That actually is pretty useful. So there I gotta go get back down, get back up again, check the hitch and see. I do see the value in those tail lights, at least in this configuration. Now on the gooseneck trailer, it's not as easy to see those lights because you have that big gooseneck in the way, but just something to consider.
And you can see right here, this is saying, hey, I'm kind of in the zone there. I'm in the green zone, and I'm probably properly loaded for a roughly 5,500 pound trailer. Now, in the interest of your time, I'll just show how the gooseneck trailer one will work with the Smart Hitch. It's basically the same. The only difference is that the weight range that you're looking for is slightly different. So when you go to Smart Hitch, I would choose, instead of conventional, I would choose gooseneck. I'll go to quick setup. We would say reset our hitch weight, assuming that we are loaded up. We'll reset that. We'll move here, enter loaded weight of the loaded trailer. I'll put the loaded trailer weight there, 5,600 pounds. I'm going to confirm that, and now I'm going to go forward, and it's saying basically, if you look, it has a different range. So before, I believe it was 10 to 15%. Here it's showing you should have about 15 to 25% of your loaded trailer weight on the goose ball here, and that's the zone that you're looking for. So it calculates the numbers for you, and then this red bar that's down here would move up into this range. Now it's showing exactly 0 right now because remember we just reset the hitch weight. And if you're curious how the onboard scales works, you can see there is one of these sensors right here. This is on the rear wheel that will detect how much the spring has bent down. And the same thing exists here on the front, on these right here. So this basically makes this move up and down. It calculates how much the springs were compressed and how much the truck weighs. One issue with that might be if you want to lift your truck, the one in the back might not be as big of a deal, but this one in the front will need to relocate some of these components and potentially lengthen that arm if you're going to change the geometry of this at all. And that could be difficult to do. It's probably possible. I'm not sure if there's a kit out there yet that does it, but that might be one downside to onboard scales.
Okay, so let's do a quick cost comparison of the two options. The first being onboard scales with Smart Hitch. That's a Ford OEM installed option. That's $650. Plus, you're still going to need a standard goose ball, which is about $250 to $300, and a standard receiver hitch, which is another $200 to $350, depending on which one you pick. So that totals out around $1,100 to $1,300. And then you could have just a WaySafe option, which is the WaySafe goose ball plus the WaySafe receiver hitch, and that adds up to about $580 to $660, depending on which one you pick. So the WaySafe is the cheaper of the two options, but one thing that doesn't really account for here is being able to measure the payload in the back of your truck if you don't have a trailer attached, like if you were loading a pallet of concrete bags or something like that. So that is the additional capability you'd be paying for with onboard scales that would not be from just the WaySafe hitches. Speaking of capability, if you're someone who uses these big trucks for heavy duty work that needs an open bed, like a gooseneck or pallet of heavy loads, but sometimes you use it a bit more like an SUV for a lot of those more domestic type tasks, like hauling your kids and their sports equipment or going on a cross-country road trip with all your luggage and the family pet in the back, or maybe if you want to do some overland camping or anything like that, go to our website and see if a Truckscursion might be for you. Who knows what you might want to do with your truck next week, so don't box yourself into one configuration. And if a custom-built Truckscursion isn't for you, but you have some other truck-related issue you need a solution for, shoot us an email at info@thebxt.com and let us know what it is. We may be able to solve your problem, or we may already have something in the works. So please go to our website, that's thebxt.com, for more information, and subscribe to our channel so you can see updates on our new products and reviews of some of the equipment we use on our vehicles.